Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. My name is Tamarialakayye, and usually I would do videos over my SisterLocks, but as you see, I don't have SisterLocks anymore, and I am continuing off of a story time that I was telling when I had locks, and I was getting to the point to where I was going to tell y'all what happened, or the story behind me getting shot by my ex-girlfriend. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into it for those who have been waiting on this part. So yeah, let's just do that real quick. Okay, so to be honest, I'm not really sure where I left off at on that video because I already have it uploaded to YouTube and I haven't rewatched it in a long time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. I don't know if it's gonna be the beginning, but where I think I may have left off. Okay, so this was my first time being in a relationship, open relationship with a female. We had dealt with each other prior. She moved and then she came back, and then we dealt with each other again. So during the time that we connected for the second time, I had, like, you know, multiple options basically, and I just felt like she was the best one. So we link up and it's just like a strong, tight connection right off the bat. And so we link up and it's just like a really strong, inseparable connection. We're with each other all day. We're with each other all night. We spend the night at each other's house. And then we end up just being like, let's just get our own place. That way, you know, I don't gotta be coming to your daddy's house and you don't gotta be coming to my mama and daddy's house. It would just be easier for us to get our own place. Now, at the time that we decided to do this, she had a full-time job, but I was a full-time student and I was not working. So the only thing that I was relying on was financial aid. We applied for some apartments and it didn't go as planned. And then we finally got one. It was real nice. We moved in. A few days after moving in, into our apartment, my girlfriend was like, she wanted to go and get a gun to protect the house, protect us. We're two females living on our own. I didn't think much of it, so I went ahead and was like, sure. So we get to the pawn shop, which is where we got the gun. Just like, as soon as we pulled up into the parking lot, I had like this heavy spirit, this heaviness that was within me, and I just didn't really know what it was, so I tried to ignore it. I thought, you know, it was just me being extremely fearful of something that I didn't need to be fearful of. But I remember it being a feeling that was like, it was like a really heavy feeling. It was almost like a warning sign, but I didn't really know how to tap into that type of intuition in order to run, basically. But we went ahead, we went into the pawn shop. She gets a gun, she walks in there. She was very familiar with all of the weapons, the type of bullets they need, all of the technical ins and outs about having a gun, because she was in the reserves for a little while. She was either in the reserves or active duty. I can't remember which one it was, but she was doing something in the military and then she got out. So she was pretty familiar with guns. I'm not sure if it was just mainly from her military experience or if it was something else, but we get a gun. We get a 9mm gun. We get bullets and everything like that. We go back to the house, and then I start to notice that her behavior it's weird, but I didn't think too much of it. She would like fly off the handle, like any little thing. She wanted to grab her gun and, you know, like use her gun as a means of, I guess, dominating situations. For example, we had, you know, just moved into our house and we were waiting on the people to come install our internet service. And so they missed the appointment or something, and she's like, I'm about to go down there, I'm about to go down there, and she grabs the gun and she goes down to AT&T, and I'm like, oh my God, she's so fucking extra. That's what I would think. I'm like, she's so fucking extra, so dramatic. So here we are, basically always riding around with a gun. She didn't have a license for it, but you know, there's certain laws and regulations for each state. But if she would have got pulled over with it, I don't think that would have been good news for her. But anyways, no matter where we went to the convenience store, we went to the club, we went out to eat, she carrying the gun with her everywhere. I thought it was just gonna be like in the house, locked up in a safe kind of thing, but no. So it wasn't even that long. We weren't even in our apartment that long before this situation transpired. So the night of, we got into an argument. I believe it was over whether or not we was gonna have sex for the night. And I was like, no, I'm tired or something. So she got mad, and instead of her just going to sleep, she got on her phone, started talking to her ex. I could hear the conversation while I was in the room, and it just sounded very disrespectful. So I got up and I asked her who she was talking to, and she told me, like, straight up, like, this is my ex or whatever. And I was like, wow. So I got mad and I took her phone and threw it against the wall, and it broke. And so she gets up and she's like, what the fuck, why you do that? Okay, so the night of the incident, we're just gonna go ahead and jump to that. We get into an argument before going to bed. She's mad because I didn't want to have sex with her. That was an issue. Anytime I did not want to have sex, it was always an issue. So she took it upon herself to just go ahead and go in the living room while I was in the room, and she started talking to her ex, and I just thought it was really disrespectful. So I go in there and I asked her, you know, just to confirm, like, who are you talking to? And she told me, and then I overreacted and I took her phone and threw it against the wall. And from there, things just went all the way wrong. She gets up, she's like, where's my phone at? You better help me find my phone. Then she starts looking for her gun. We turn on all the lights. She's looking for her phone, I'm looking for her phone. Eventually she goes and she grabs her gun and she's walking around the house threatening me, saying that I better find her phone. And you know, at this point we had both already looked for it. It's really strange. It's like that phone disappeared into freaking thin air because, like, we could not find it. So we are arguing back and forth, and finally, you know, I'm just like, I'm tired of arguing with you. I'm just about to sit here on the bed or whatever, and you know, I'm just gonna sit here on the bed. Like, this wasn't our first time getting into an argument where the gun was used in a threatening manner. And I used to be like, I'm not scared of you and this gun. Like, I don't care. Like, that's what I would be like. I don't care, I'm not scared of you and this gun. But something about this night, I was super calm. So I'm sitting at the edge of the bed, close to the headboard or whatever, and she's standing at the foot of the bed. So we're in pretty close range to each other because it was probably only a full or queen size bed, so it's not like we were like super far. And she's pointing the gun at me and she's like, get up and find my phone, get up and find my phone. And I'm like, bro, I don't know where your phone's at. Like, you seen it, we both was looking for it, I don't know where your phone is at. And then the next thing I know is I hear the gun go off. One time it goes off. She's pointing it at me, and I was shocked, but at the same time I didn't know what was going on. I look at her and she's also shocked. Like, she's just still, she's not moving. She still has the gun held up. Like, she literally froze up, like froze up. Meanwhile, I'm looking at myself to see if I see any, you know, holes in my body, because at this point, Like, I wasn't for sure if she had shot me or not. So I'm looking down, don't see anything. There was a mirror like right on the side of our bed. So I stand up, I look in the mirror. I had on a tank top and I look at my chest and there's a hole right here. And I said, oh my God, she really shot me. So, you know, I go ahead and I put my hand over my chest and, you know, I'm looking for help. I didn't have a phone because at the time, like I said, I wasn't working. I was a full-time student, and it was when you had to like put minutes on your phone, and I hadn't recharged and her phone was broken. We did not have a house phone. So I went to the neighbor's house to see if they could, you know, call the cops or 911 or something like that. Luckily for me, we actually lived 2 minutes away from the hospital. I'm not sure why I didn't grab the car keys and just hop in the car and go to the hospital since it was so close. But meanwhile, I'm knocking on the neighbor's door trying to get them to help, and they were like not answering it. Like, they probably heard the gunshots, didn't want to get involved. I don't blame them. But she comes outside. And another part, like while I was waiting at my neighbor's house or whatever, like I was literally like waiting on them to open the door. And at the same time that I was waiting on them to open the door, in my mind and in my heart, I was like repenting because I just knew I was about to die. Like, I had literally just got shot in my chest. And I was like, well, if this is it for me, I want to make sure that I at least have a clean slate before I get to heaven. So I'm repenting, asking for forgiveness, trying to clear up the sins real quick. So she comes outside and she's like, come on, let's go to the hospital. So at that point, I was like, either she's gonna take me to the hospital or she's gonna ride down the street and drop me off in a fucking creek somewhere and finish me off. So I took my chance. I get in the car with her. Like I said, the hospital was 2 minutes away. We get to the hospital. It's just like a freaking movie. She jumps out of the car, runs into the emergency room, yelling, she's been shot, she's been shot. They run out with a wheelchair, and then they take me straight to the back, put me on the bed. The nurses and the doctors or whatever, I guess this was like not their first time, you know, going through this type of situation. So for them, it was like nothing new. Like, it wasn't like they were taking the situation serious. It was just like, another black person got shot, we'll get to you when we get to you. So meanwhile, while they're lollygagging, doing whatever, I'm just like literally looking at the clock. Like, there was a clock in front of me, and the only thing I could think of as the ticker was going, and it was going, was that in any moment I'm gonna go. In any moment I'm gonna die. That's what I was thinking while I was laying there in the bed. Finally, the nurses, they come over, they tend to me, they do an x-ray. Very unprofessional, very unprofessional. Come to find out, the bullet went through my chest, came out of my back. It missed my heart by an inch. Yeah, my heart. It missed my heart by an inch, and it pierced my lung on the way out. I had to stay in the hospital for like a week in order to drain all of the fluid out. And I just remember being in the hospital and being paranoid because people were coming to see me, like my baby daddy, for instance. And I was like, oh my God, why is he coming up here? Knowing me and him don't get along, but I was just paranoid, like thinking somebody was gonna come hurt me. I was sad because I thought I was going to actually pass on, and I didn't pass on. I was still here. I was confused. I was like, I'm hurt because somebody that I freaking loved did this to me. It was just like a very low moment in my life. Very, very low. Needless to say, I got out of the hospital. I stayed with my stepdad for a little bit. I feel like religion had me so confused to where it was like I knew I had to forgive her, which is true, in order for me to get through that situation. But a part of me was like, oh, in order for me to forgive her, like I have to be showing her that I forgive her by still being with her, was kind of like the mentality that I had. So after getting out of the hospital, staying with my dad for a little bit, I ended up back with her. But when I tell you that internally, it felt like every day I was dying. It felt like my energy was drained. It could never be replaced. It was such a low state. Like, my physical body was doing okay, but my spiritual self was not well. It was not well being around her, being around other people that was in the environment. It was just like, I forgave her, but at the same time, I should have just let her go on her way and on her own path afterwards, which I eventually did. Like, I felt like I got with my husband as quick as I did because I was looking for an escape from her. And it was like, now I know that I don't have to escape to, you know, other relationships. Like, I do want to be in a relationship, but I don't necessarily have to escape to relationships after, you know, traumatic things have happened to me. But that was kind of a pattern or cycle that, you know, had to be broken. So that's pretty much how it went with me and her, and how I ended up with my husband, because I was like literally still with her by the time I met my second husband. So yeah, that's how that went. I feel like because I am able to tell the story a little bit more, and it's like each time that I tell it, it's like I'm able to get through the story without being extra emotional. And then too, it just depends on, you know, the situation and the scene and everything like that. But I never got any therapy for that. I'm sure that that situation alone, not to talk about any of the other situations that I've been through in my life, are pretty much probably attached to PTSD. One day, very soon, I'm gonna look into at least getting a therapist and digging out a lot of the things that may be stuck in there, so that I can just be in an overall, like, I feel like I'm in a good space, but at the same time, I feel like I could be in an even better space if I could just unpack everything and just put it away somewhere. So yeah, that's pretty much that story, and that is it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, I am more than open to answering the questions. But yeah, that's it for today's video. See you in the next one. Bye.